Hello, and welcome to episode 5 of Shattered. I'm your host, Jaya Williams, joined with Allyson Park and Amber Williams, of course. How are you doing today, guys?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Midweek, so coming off this weekend. How are you doing, Allyson?
I'm doing pretty well. It's a pretty beautiful day here in Nova, and just like you, I'm really excited to watch the NBA Finals tonight. I actually read an article about my prediction for the game, so we'll see how that goes, but I'm just super excited to talk about sports this week.
Definitely. A lot of interesting and new updates going on in a lot of different sports this week. Starting out with some news that just came out. Aaron Rodgers just turned down a deal that would have made him the richest football player in the NFL. He was offered a 2-year contract extension that would have made him the highest paid, not only quarterback, but just the highest paid player in football. It was a 2-year contract extension that would have guaranteed him 5 more seasons with the Packers, but Rodgers declined. So I guess it's not all about the money for him. The saga continues. Have you guys heard about this? What do you guys think?
Yeah, so Aaron Rodgers is not my favorite person. Of course, he's good at football. I'm gonna give him that, but I think this just kind of shows how much he wants out of Green Bay. I mean, to turn down being the highest paid NFL player, that's ridiculous. And I think it's showing a little bit of his selfishness, but also that he needs out of Green Bay. I don't understand why they're trying so hard to keep him there when he's so unhappy. I think he should just low-key kind of suck it up and deal with it and take the money. But at the same time, he's not going to play well for Green Bay, even if he signs there, because he doesn't want to be there and he's not happy.
Yeah, I would agree with Amber there. Aaron Rodgers has never been a favorite of mine, especially since I am a Vikings fan. But he, like you said, he's clearly very unhappy, and I'm just very curious as to why he is so wildly unhappy and why this came on so quickly. Because it seems like it just happened overnight. Like this year, so many things have changed with his opinion of how the team is run, how he is, I guess, coached as a player. And I don't know why that change was so drastic. I'm curious to see, but I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. Is he going to play for the Packers this season? Is he not? Like, what's going on? It's super confusing. But if Aaron Rodgers does end up leaving the Green Bay Packers, it certainly will be the end of an era for them and the end of an era for football in general, because Aaron Rodgers has been one of the biggest names in the NFL for a very long time, specifically under the Green Bay Packers. So changes on the horizon no matter what happens in that situation, but I'm just really curious to see how it pans out in the future.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are this drama between Aaron Rodgers and the Packers has been going on for a long time now, and this isn't his first time threatening to leave the organization. But I think the bottom line, a lot of people just being like, why wouldn't he just do it? Clearly, the issues they're a lot deeper and a lot more underlying than it seems. Because if it was just about the money, he would have accepted it. So, I think he feels disregarded. The Green Bay Packers were 13-3 in back-to-back years when Matt LaFleur was their head coach, and they went back-to-back NFC. They won back-to-back NFC championship games. So I think that he really feels dismissed and disregarded. I feel like he must truly feel disrespected with the organization to be like, F this money, I still am not going to accept that deal. And I think he has been very cryptic about it. I know that's what makes a lot of people, Amber, you said you respect him as an athlete, but a lot of people don't like how he is as a person. I think he might actually be leaving this time. I think the relationships and the ties have just gotten too severed for him to still stay. If that's the biggest they can offer and he's still saying no, I don't see him staying with the organization. I do wonder where he will go, though.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens for sure in this coming NFL season for a lot of different reasons. But for this one's probably the biggest reason of all that people are just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen because no one knows right now. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of potential teams who would want him. It's
right.
really
Like, where do you guys think he would even go?
Yeah, I mean, he's a great quarterback, but he is on the older side. So we'll see what teams are interested, what teams make offers, if he even ends up leaving this season or not, or if he just waits till the end of the season. But I don't know. It's super confusing.
And this might just be my bias with how I feel about him, but like if I'm an NFL team and I see that he just completely like said no to this expensive deal and how he's been kind of acting within that organization, I'm not sure that I'd want to offer him something. Like, I'd be like, what is he looking for exactly? Like, how much does he want if he's saying no to this?
Yeah. I don't even think it's like another team would need to offer him the same amount of money. I think him saying no is just him saying, I would rather make less playing for a different organization where I can accomplish what I need to accomplish than stay with you guys for the money and be miserable, But it's interesting. It's interesting. It really is. I mean, I would say Rodgers. I mean, imagine being the richest NFL player in the entire, like, that's hard to turn down. Like, that's a very bold choice for him to turn down that money, but it really is not always about the money. So, I mean, he has to do what he has to do for him. It should be interesting to see how that pans out, though. But if we are transitioning to another sport, Norwegian Beach Volleyball. I'm sure you guys have, if you haven't been living under a rock, it's been trending all over Twitter and all over Instagram. New rules going on with women volleyball players. Amber, can you explain a little bit about what's been going on?
Yeah, so the European Beach Handball Championship just came to an end, and Germany got that win. So absolute huge props to Germany and to those women. And I don't like to draw attention away from the athletes who just, did amazing and have to talk about drama, but this is something that does need to be discussed. So Norway's team was set to compete on Sunday, but the women decided that they didn't want to wear bikinis to the game. They weren't feeling it. And instead they decided to wear non-regulation shorts. And that was for their bronze medal match against Spain. So this decision put them at risk for a fine of 50 euros, which is about $59 for the US conversion. But the team actually, before this, had approached the European Handball Federation ahead of the game and asked to wear shorts, but they were denied, which I think is ridiculous because I think they should be able to wear whatever they want because, to me, the rules are ridiculous. And I'm going to go into the rules a little bit so we can see exactly what they broke. So, the international regulations state, quote for quote, that women should wear a bikini where the top should be a tight-fitting sports bra with deep openings at the arms. The bottom must not be more than 10 centimeters on the sides. So, in my opinion, I think this type of requirement is only in place to sexualize a female athlete. There is absolutely no reason that these women cannot play in shorts if they are more comfortable in that. If a girl wants to wear a bikini, though, that's completely her choice. That has been the tradition, so if one wants to do that, I think that's perfectly fine. But no one should ever be required to wear something that makes them feel exposed or uncomfortable. In my opinion, it's a sport, and these girls are athletes. They're not models walking the runway for Victoria's Secret fashion show. So I'm interested to see what you guys think of this.
It doesn't seem like those rules are for function at all. It doesn't matter. Like, it's not like, oh, you have to wear red shorts with like a blue top for like soccer. No, this has nothing to do with regulation. It's just they want everyone to look a certain way. I'm sure part of the appeal is because the women are wearing that, and I think that's a problem in itself. Yes. But it doesn't seem like those rules are in place because of function is because people want to see that. And I find that completely disgusting. And I can't believe that's still happening. And the fact that their request was denied directly by the organization is absolutely ridiculous. There's no recognizing how screwed up the rules are. There's no desire to change. It's just, no, you're not supposed to because that's what the rules say. And I think that's terrible.
Well, here's my thing. Has this been the rules for beach volleyball this whole time? And all of a sudden now they're trying to ask to change it? It seems like this has been a thing for a while and nobody's really had an issue with the uniforms until now. So is it just this specific competition has these rules, or is it, I'm not, that's what I don't get.
So that's the actual European Handball Federation. So any teams that fall under that umbrella, they are required to wear this for competition. And considering this was the actual European Beach Handball Championship, that was enforced across all the teams.
So then these women, they've been wearing the small, like the bikini outfits this whole time then, and they just, what exactly made the shift? Was it just they suddenly became uncomfortable, or were they uncomfortable the whole time, but they just didn't have the courage to ask to wear something different yet? Because I'm just curious as to why they chose now to ask for shorts. Not that I think they should have a right to wear them if they want to, but I just wonder why now. You know,
what changed things?
Yeah, like it does seem a little like out of nowhere, just because they've been having to wear this uniform the whole time and it's never really been protested until this point, unless I'm misunderstanding.
So they have had some issues. Beach volleyball has had some issues with the rules in other countries. I know it's kind of the reverse situation of this that happened recently in a Middle Eastern country. I'm blanking on the exact one, but they were supposed to have a tournament there. And that country, because of their religious practices, did not agree with women wearing bikinis. So they wanted to require women to wear the shorts. And in kind of like a reverse state, the women, I guess, kind of fought against that, and then they were allowed to wear the bikinis in that competition. So I don't know if it's necessarily more about not wanting to wear the bikinis because they're feeling sexualized, although I do think that's a big part of it, but also that they just want to be able to wear whatever they want. Like if they want to wear a bikini, great. If they want to wear shorts, great. Like there shouldn't be like a specific, you need to wear this exact outfit because it's beach volleyball. I mean, I'm not incredibly familiar with the sport, but there's not like, I can't imagine that the shorts or the bikini is going to be that much of a difference on how the athlete played, if any.
Yeah. I do think that it's interesting you brought up that point because I feel like there's kind of a juxtaposition between, do we want to cover them up or do we want them to, like, is it female empowerment for them to be able to show their skin, or is it inappropriate and we're sexualizing them? And at the end of the day, I feel like I do think everybody should be uniform when you're playing on a team. So I think it's just tricky to see, like, well, are we all going to agree? Should we all wear shorts or should we all wear the bikini bottoms? Because if they're feeling like we're forced to cover ourselves, that goes against the middle, like what you were just saying in the Middle East. That's why they wanted the bikinis, just so that they could feel empowered. But then on the other hand, some people are saying that's not female empowerment, you know? So I feel like it's very tricky because there's two opposite ends of the spectrum. And I feel like it's just hard to come to agreements like that, you know, because I don't know. I want to believe that it isn't like there was no ill intentions of we're trying to sexualize them, but I do feel like the fact that it was rejected, if they all agreed to wear these shorts and everybody was on board with the shorts, I don't see why they couldn't change that policy. But I'm not sure if it was necessarily rooted in us in sexualization. I think maybe it was just that's the code that they had in place and they didn't want to seem like they were breaking it for a specific team. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think the real intentions were behind it?
I still think it is a big sexualization part because I feel like, I mean, we've seen it for years. Women athletes are a lot of times more sexualized, and like, you know, most of the women instead of like focusing on like a picture of them with their trophy, a lot of times they're on like the cover of a magazine and they're wearing a bikini. And if that's something they want to do, I think that's perfectly fine. Like, you know, whatever, you do you. And if that's what you're comfortable with and you find that as your source of empowerment, that's great. But I just think that the reason, I mean, if you're not going to allow them to wear shorts, I think it's less of a thing of uniformity and more of like a, well, we've always done it this way. And I think they get more viewers that way.
Yeah, maybe viewership. I mean, if they change it for them, would they have to change it for every single team?
I don't think so. I think I think it should be where it's like each team can choose. You know, I know what you're saying about uniformity, but I think it's okay if there's people on the team who want to wear a bikini and others who want to wear shorts. I think that would be fine. Maybe like just have them all the same color. And you could still be uniform, but that way if there's people who are uncomfortable with it, then they can wear something that they enjoy playing in.
And they're not willing to be flexible on that at all. And that I do agree is not right. I mean, it's really not that serious. Allyson, what do you think?
I definitely agree with Amber. I think sexualization plays a big role in this, but I do understand your point, Jaya, as to when, like, there are two opposite sides of the spectrum, and when does one start and when does the other begin? And it's super tricky. I definitely understand that. I think, though, this is less a problem about the actual uniform, more a problem about principle. The fact that they are required to wear something or banned from wearing something, I think, is a big problem in this. And like Amber said, I think that the right to choose plays a big role in this situation. And yeah, I mean, I definitely understand it's a tricky issue when you sit down and think about it, because at different places it can mean a lot of different things. But I think the biggest thing is that these athletes just want to be able to choose what they want to wear, because if it doesn't inhibit their performance, why should it matter what they wear? And I do think if they're all the same color, bikini bottoms and like biker shorts really don't look that different. If they're just the same color, all the athletes can choose what they want to wear for that game, and whatever they're feeling, it doesn't matter. I think the problem that these women have is that they're being told they can't wear something because it goes against the rules. I think I think that's the biggest problem here. And then there are a lot of different arguments and a lot of different facets and shades to this, but I think when you boil it down, that's the biggest problem that people have with this.
Yeah, definitely. Do you guys foresee them, because of the backlash it's been getting online, a lot of people are really not cool with this. Do you think that they will make this adjustment for them? I think they should personally, but do you think they will?
I don't think they're going to get fined. Like, they were threatened to get fined, and the Norwegian team said, we will pay the fines if that's what they do. I definitely don't see them getting fined because that's just going to cause more backlash. And I think this is an important conversation, and I think it's something that the sport should be talking about. You know, it shouldn't just be a one team decision. It should be a consensus that they all get together and talk about. And what do the athletes want? Do they want the change? Do they want the chance? Do they all want the chance to wear what they choose? So I think it could be something that we see a change.
Right. And I would really hope that them wearing shorts, which is 10 more centimeters covering their body, wouldn't affect however many people are watching. I mean, if you're just sitting there watching because they're in bikinis, you're weird. Are you not why would you just know? I would hope that the people watching these things are there to watch them play volleyball, and them wearing shorts doesn't really make a difference. So if they're really trying to protect their viewership, if anything, that's just really sad.
It's sad if you're so focused on your viewership that you're willing to make your athletes uncomfortable.
Right. And I think that that's what it really comes down to. So hopefully we will see a change in this in the future, or at least at least think attention's being brought to it, but clearly in Europe, they're a little bit behind the curve. I mean, last week, we literally just talked about how they still had their husbands last name for Wimbledon etched into the championship board. So clearly they've got some work to do overseas with this gender equality in sports. Something's not clicking over there. But yeah, I don't even know what else to say about that. It is sad to hear these types of stories, though, because you feel like we've made so much progress, and there's always just little reminders that there's a lot of work left to be done, for sure. On another note, transitioning over to an issue going on in swimming with Becca Myers, and little Olympic update. Allyson, can you tell us what's been going on?
Yes, so you're going to have to sit down for this one because this one is potentially a little bit upsetting. I know I was definitely emotional when I heard about this, but this news is very, very recent and also very interesting. So this only came out a couple of hours ago. Becca Myers, who is a blind and deaf 3-time gold medalist for the Paralympics, just announced that she has decided to withdraw from competing at Tokyo at the 2021 Paralympics. She released a statement on her Instagram and her Twitter saying that she made this decision because the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee refused to let her bring her own personal care assistant, PCA, insisting that the one personal care assistant they hired to assist all 34 Paralympic swimmers would suffice. And she said in her statement that for her, having a trusted PCA is a very reasonable, very essential accommodation for her. And she said that she was very angry, disappointed, and very sad to not be representing her country, but that this was the right decision for her, and that she almost had no other choice because she felt like she would not be able to compete well if she did not have a trusted personal care assistant with her. So this made me really sad that her request was not, her accommodations were not accepted, and that she felt like she had to pull out from competing because of it. So what are your guys' thoughts on this?
You know, it's the Paralympics. The literal point of this is to give people who are differently abled a space that they are comfortable competing in. And the fact that they weren't willing to accommodate, I think that just shows some problems within that Olympic committee. And then also, one personal care assistant for 34 other athletes, that's not a personal care at all. That is like a multi-person care because, you know, and especially if you have that type of disability and you need somebody to like one-on-one, that's not going to happen if it's one person running around trying to take care of 34 different people. So I just think it's absolutely ridiculous that her request was denied.
Yeah, it's stories like these that are so absurd that it doesn't even seem like real news. Like what? Why would you? It's like Amber said, it's literally the Paralympics. So I feel like if they need a different or more accommodations, there should never be any pushback on them to have accommodations. I feel like it really is kind of ableist in a way for them to kind of not give her what she needs in order to perform her best. It just doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Yeah, I would agree. But there is a little bit more to the story. I did want to get your guys' initial reactions. But the COVID-19 pandemic definitely has a lot to do with this situation. Myers said that in the past, the USOPC has always approved her request to have her PCA with her at international meets. But because of COVID, they have deemed that non-essential and are not allowing her to do that this time. So I think that only makes the problems worse. Like, they have deemed her personal care assistant to be non-essential to this race. They told her, you don't need this to compete, when she does.
Yes, you do. Yes, she does.
Up many more problems. I don't think using COVID as an excuse solves anything. It just brings up more questions and more problems.
First off, I think only she knows what she needs to compete, and there should not be anybody else telling her what she does and doesn't need. That's just wrong. That is horrible. Right. And I think I guess, the COVID concern, but I've been like preaching this in articles and stuff for weeks. I think the vaccine should have been required for all the athletes that were competing. And I think the Paralympics should have done the same thing. And then this wouldn't have been a problem because if her personal care assistant had proven vaccination, then they wouldn't have had to worry about it. It would have been a nice little bubble.
Right. I think the personal care assistant should have to go through the same process that the athletes have to go through to be able to be there. And yeah, I mean, obviously the pandemic is still a thing. We have to take it seriously, but they should be considered an essential addition to, they have to be there in order for this to, happen. It's not an option. And I think that's really what just doesn't make any sense, is the fact that they're considering them to be optional when it's really an essential, especially for people they have disabilities. So yeah, I don't know what's going through their minds with that rule.
Yeah, and just putting myself in her shoes with this situation, it's really disheartening and heartbreaking. Like Amber said, it goes against the entire purpose of the Paralympics. And on a different note, not being able to have a trusted personal care assistant there would be really difficult as a blind and deaf athlete. If it's some person you've never met before is also trying to take care of 33 other people, that can be discomforting and also anxiety inducing. Like you don't have the person you trust with you. And I think it is absolutely essential for her and for a lot of other athletes too. And I just think it's a really, really sad situation to be in.
Wait, no, I'm thinking of the 33 others now that are left all being attended by one person. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. And like you said, putting yourself in their shoes, just to become the amazing athletes that they became, they had to overcome, so much with whatever disability they may have. And it kind of just seems like a slap in the face to me that they make it to the Olympic level and they don't even feel comfortable, or at least in Becca's case, they don't even feel really comfortable competing anymore because they can't be accommodated. It's just disappointing because I know they work so hard and they deserve that. They really do deserve that. They deserve better than what they're getting.
Yeah, I completely agree. So to end this segment, I wanted to read out this quote from Becca Myers from her statement. She said, "So in 2021, why, as a disabled person, am I still fighting for my rights? I'm speaking up for future generations of Paralympic athletes in hopes they never have to experience the pain I've been through. Enough is enough." And I think that was the perfect way to sum up this entire situation. It's really heartbreaking.
Oh, that makes me so sad. Oh. I mean, all we can do is look forward. Hopefully, I just really hope that the backlash will help them make these changes for the future. Obviously, COVID's not going to be an issue forever, but it's just a respect thing. My heart really does break for her, but I don't know. I mean, there's not much that anybody else can do. It's really in the hands of the people running the Paralympics.
Yeah, I think as sad as this situation is, maybe it'll, raise awareness that even in a space that is supposed to be safe for people who are differently abled, there's still issues. And I'm hoping that the Paralympics addresses this and that the necessary changes so that these people can be accommodated and feel comfortable competing at their highest level in their sport, for years to come.
Absolutely. And, I feel like we need some good news. I feel like we need a pick-me-up. A lot of these stories have been pretty depressing today, but hey, that's the news. We've got to update you guys. Before we go, let's leave it off on something a little more bright. So, switching over to the ice, one hockey player just made history. Nashville Predators prospect Luke Procope came out as gay, saying he hopes living an authentic life will help his career in the NHL. he released a statement saying, quote, "Hi, everyone. While the past year and a half has been crazy, it has also given me the chance to find my true self. I'm no longer scared to hide who I am. Today, I am proud to publicly tell everyone that I am gay. It has been quite the journey to get to this point in my life, but I could not be happier with my decision to come out. From a young age, I've dreamed of being an NHL player, and I believe that living my authentic life will allow me to bring my whole self to the rink and improve my chances of fulfilling my dreams." So, yes, he has just made history as the first NHL player to come out of the closet during his active career. Huge, huge news, a huge step. He's been receiving a lot of support from the NHL, from the Nashville coach, the president of the NHL. They're all standing behind him. So it is pretty cool to see, especially since, just last month, Carl Nassib was the first NFL player to come out of the closet, and he received a lot of great support too. So it's pretty cool to see a lot of these male athletes feeling comfortable enough to be true to themselves and true to who they really are, and starting to feel comfortable going public about that. So, guys, what do you think about this news?
I actually recently wrote an article before, of course, this news broke, and it was about, is hockey really for everyone? I don't know if you guys are familiar with the campaign, but hockey and NHL has this campaign, and they like to promote it, especially during Pride Month. And it's essentially this hashtag, hockey is for everyone, and they'll do like rainbow sticks and different stuff like that. But I wrote about, is hockey really for everyone? There's not exactly a ton of diversity in hockey. And of course, at that time, we hadn't had the first openly gay NHL player. So I think seeing the support that was brought from the hockey community, like you said, Jaya, from the coaches and from the NHL commissioner, and just even looking at NHL's timeline on Twitter, I was scrolling through and it's just seeing all these other players and teams just like shouting him out and telling him like how happy they are to have him here and that he feels safe to be in the space. I think it is a great change in the direction. And, maybe now hockey truly is for everyone. We're starting to see that support in that community, something that was not there before. And I think it's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, I think it's really great to see this, especially like you said, coming off the heels of the first NFL player coming out as gay. I think it's amazing that they feel comfortable enough in their environment to, come out publicly, because men in sports, sports is such like a guy thing.
Oh yeah.
A lot of masculinity rampant in sports, and the fact that these men are confident in themselves to tell the world who they truly are is awesome. And it shows little boys that, you can be gay and like sports. Like it's for everyone. It doesn't matter your race, gender, sexual orientation. Like these things are for everyone. And it really is breaking down, like I said, the toxic masculinity that is often rampant in sports and people who like sports. So I think seeing that diversity is just awesome. And I commend them for their courage. And I think that we need to see more of it, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, congratulations to him for shattering that barrier. I think everybody should be able to feel comfortable being who they truly are. I couldn't imagine having to hide such an important part of, it's not everything. And, people have a right to their privacy. I know even Carl Nassib said in his statement that he hopes one day coming out statements like these won't even be necessary because it's so normalized to just be who you are. But, I couldn't imagine having to intentionally hide something like that just so that I could feel comfortable doing my job and having a career. So it really is a small step towards a very big, grand scheme, a bigger picture of just people feeling comfortable to be themselves, especially these male athletes. And yeah, I'm really happy. I was really happy to hear that, and really happy to start seeing all of this support. It does show that, small changes are being made, and over time, I think it will become more normalized to where hopefully statements like these aren't a huge news story. It's just like, oh, cool. It is what it is. That's perfectly okay and normalized. So kudos to him for being the first one. I think being the first one's always going to be tough, but he's opening doors for a lot of young men after him that hopefully will feel comfortable to be authentic to their lifestyle as well.
Yeah, and I think it will be great when we get to that point where these statements aren't necessary. But I think this one is so good because that shows, like, little boys, like you said, Allyson, who realize that this space is for them. It's for anybody, regardless of, their sexual orientation, gender, race, any of that. Hockey truly is for everyone, and he is showing that.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad we had a little bit of happy news to give you guys a little joy before we end here. But thank you so much for listening to Shattered. I am your host, Jaya Williams, and we're going to catch you guys on episode 6 next week. Any last words, you guys?
I'm looking forward to these NBA finals.
Same. Also the Olympics. I mean, we've got a lot of cool stuff coming up, so we're ready.
Definitely. We've got a lot of interesting stuff to talk about with you guys in the future. We can't wait. But until then, we'll see you next time. Thank you for listening.